Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, welcome to Love Your Body, Love Your Life. My name is Jenna. I'm the host of today's show, and I'm also the author of the book titled Love Your Body, Love Your Life, 52 Tips That Will Radically Change Your Health. You can find my book on Amazon and on barnesandnoble.com. So welcome to today's show, you guys. So I titled it A Sense of Renewal, Hope, Faith, and Trust, Springtime. Happy spring. I hope everyone's having a good springtime so far, and perhaps there are some things that you intended or some intentions that you set back during holiday season that are blooming now in April. Everything is fresh and new, and they call it like spring cleaning and everything like that. So I thought it would be kind of a good topic. And what's interesting is that I wrote like some content or whatever to talk on today's show. And then I just said, you know what, I'm just going to ditch it, ditch all of what I wrote down. And I'm just going to really talk from my gut and my heart and kind of walk you guys through my week. And I feel like once I do that, like I share these personal stories and walk you through my week, that the hope, faith, and trust will definitely come on board here. So we already have a question. So Beth wrote in or called in and said, too hot already, but it's nice to see the spring. I know, it really is. I don't know where you're at, Beth, but I'm in Orange County, California, which is by the beach. And today it's overcast. It's pretty cloudy. But a couple days ago it was super sunny and lots of green trees. So yeah, just keep enjoying those spring colors. And I think they remind us a lot. They remind us to be present, right? To be present with every day. So that's a good reminder. Thank you for that, Beth. But anyway, so like I said, I wrote content for the show, and then I said I'm going to ditch it and just talk about my week and tell you guys a little bit about just what I've been up to. And again, I think that hope, faith, and trust is going to intertwine with the show. So on Monday, I had a call with one of my mentors, and it was the day after Easter. So hopefully everybody had a good Easter Sunday with their family or friends, or whoever you enjoyed it with. So I had a call with my mentor on Monday after Easter Sunday, and we hopped on the call. It's a Zoom call, and right away she brings up Pope John Paul, right? So he passed away Monday. And we started talking about him right away and his passing. And basically the premise of our conversation was that, because everybody saw him have mass on Easter Sunday, and then the following day he's gone. So we started to talk about, the preciousness of life and how it can change, instantly. And basically what he brought to us, what kind of light he brought to us, the way he was a wayfarer, right? He walked in a certain walk. He spoke in certain words. He was definitely an impactful person in our lives. So we started to talk about that in general, just walking the walk, walking in faith, walking in trust, walking in hope. And that's basically, part of the reason why I picked this topic, because if we have hope, then we have faith. And if we have faith, we have trust. And somebody like Pope John Paul showed us that, right? So yeah, so we started talking about that, and we started talking about she's basically teaching me right now a lot about how um embracing my aloneness, embracing my solitude in life. Um I've always felt like I've either been in relationship, or I've said before, I've shared on here that I've been married, and I'm in this season of my life where I need to walk the path alone. And so she's obviously, I have her to talk through my feelings with, and everything that I go through during my week. And but that's one thing that we're working on, because I launched my new website with my coaching business, you guys. I've been doing this personal development work for eons, it feels. and and now I feel like I'm in a place where I have something of substance to share with other people. So if you guys want to check that out, it's jennalobos.com, and you can get kind of a better feeling of what I'm coaching on. But so my point is that this year I decided to go in a different direction. I'm walking this path by myself, and really, entrepreneurial wise, it can get really lonely at times. Like, you really have to take action from inspiration. Sometimes you don't know what the next step is, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And again, this is coming back to the hope, faith, and trust, right, you guys? Because I'm in this new place where I'm having to really deep dive into my gut, into my intuition, and take these next best steps to what I feel is right for my business. So what's interesting is that, I am trying to create another pathway for my business, and I still have my real estate also. So I'll share this funny story too. It's almost like somebody's listening, right? Somebody's listening. The universe is always listening to what you want, because that's what I intended back in during the holidays, what I mentioned at the beginning of the show is I intended this new business, this new route for myself. And so sometimes I feel like you're kind of tested, right? So 2 weeks ago, I run into a client, a real estate client, and he makes this appointment with me for last weekend, the Saturday before Easter. And he's like, yeah, come to my office, and we're going to talk about where he wants me to show properties, where he wants to live next. So I said, okay, I can come Saturday prior to Easter. And he's like, okay. So he makes the appointment with me to go to his office at 4 on Saturday. So I went to his office at 4, and his sister was there. He wasn't. So I said, well, is he going to be back? And she says, well, yeah, he'll be back in, like, I don't know, maybe an hour or so. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because we had the appointment at 4:00. So she's like, she reassures me he'll be back. I'm like, okay. So I went to a local, like, natural food store that I love called Mother's Market, and I bought little things that I needed, but I did need to buy eggs. But I didn't want to buy the eggs if I was going to go back and they were going to sit in the car while I was with my client, right? My real estate client. So I told the cashier guy, I'm like, you might see me again, because I have an appointment and I don't want eggs to sit in the car, so I might have to return. And he was like, oh, laughing at me, right? Haha, okay, I'll see you again. So, okay, fine. So I go back to his office at 4:00, like an hour later, 5:00-ish, and it's completely locked, you guys. So the door was locked, nobody was there. And, like, I felt duped, right? Like, I feel duped. Like, the sister obviously was in on it. Like, he knew he made the appointment with me at 4. He took off, told the sister to, like, play this little cat and mouse game. Sorry, I almost cussed. Play this little game with me, like, oh, just tell her I'll be back. But really, no, that was bullshit. And now they're just going to close up shop. So I was like, okay, well, here we go. So obviously I went back to the market, I got my eggs, and I moseyed on home. But my point is that on Monday when I was talking to my mentor, I told her this, right? I was telling her this. So she was reminding me that it's it's all good. It's just redirecting you. It's just showing you a different path, something that I actually asked for. So I wanted to share that with you guys because life can feel that way sometimes, where the doors are shut, or you don't know what your next move is going to be, or you don't know what to do next in terms of business or life in general, or your love life, or your health, or whatever it is. And life will always show you what the next step is, I feel, naturally and organically, if you listen to your gut and your heart and you follow that. You have to follow that. In order to get to those places, you have to do, in my opinion, you do have to do some inner work, because most of the time people are just kind of running on life itself, because life can pull you in so many different directions, and your mind is just like a ceiling fan, and it could just go in overdrive, right? And then you're totally disconnected from your body and your intuition and your gut, and then you don't know what to do. So it gets hard. So I'm going to take a little break because we did get some questions. ISO, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. ISO, people need to keep moving forward no matter how hard. Yes, of course. Yes. Thank you, ISO. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I say to that, I mean, absolutely, we all do, right? We all have to get up and keep moving. And there are certain times where it's harder than others, where you do have to dig deep to find that hope, faith, and trust. I find that it's easier for me, because I am walking this path more alone now, to have a mentor, to talk to somebody. But if that's not for you, obviously there's other ways, of just sitting by yourself. Like this morning, I did some meditation, and I haven't done that in a long, long time, you guys. I haven't sat and just meditated for 10 minutes, and it felt really, really good. So that really grounded me. And yeah, so that's kind of one way. But let's see, Greg, it is hard to notice the universe giving us a redirect at times. It is. It is hard to notice when the universe is redirecting us. But I do feel, Greg, like I said, that if you are grounded in your body, in your heart, then we kind of know the answers. We do know the answers deep, deep down inside of us. We do know what is best for us. We do know when it's time to change, when it's time to go in a different direction. I feel like it does take the meditation piece, like getting silent. I say it all the time, but journaling, all these things, I know they may sound woo-woo or whatever, but basically they're just tools to getting back to your own self. And that way you're able to listen to your little voice when it's noisy out externally. And so all these things that I always talk about, journaling, meditation, breath work, talking to a mentor, all these things, they add up. And they make you stop, and they make you listen to yourself. So yeah, thank you for that, Greg. I really appreciate the questions, you guys. So anyway, this was Monday. I talked to my mentor all about this, and she helped me to calm down and to get back to center again, and know that I'm making the right decision. Know that I am moving forward to something that feels more fulfilling for me at this stage of my life. And of course, I'm going to have a setback because real estate has been my career for eons. I moved out at 19 years old. I got into real estate at 21. So you can imagine, you guys, it's been years, and it's been so good to me. And I won't say no to a family member that needs real estate help, or a really good friend, or um, a client that's actually going to commit. I'm not going to say no to that. But this work that I'm doing now with coaching just feels more in alignment with who I am now. And so, anyways, so yeah. So then I go to Pilates later on that Monday. And my Pilates class is very like intimate and small. There's like me and like one other girl normally, and the instructor, or maybe there's three of us as students and the instructor, right? So we all know each other pretty well. And so there's this girl in Pilates that same night, on Monday night, who we could tell she was like a little bit more happy, like preppy, and like normally I don't want to say, I guess she's complaining more normally, like for the exercises, and she's like, doesn't really want to do certain exercises. So she's kind of like in that mode normally. And then on Monday, she was preppy and like happy, and like, even like the teacher was like, whoa, what happened? Like, it seems like you're more yourself, or you're just happier. So she kind of played along with it during class, and she was like, yeah, like she felt good. So then after class, we sit down and we normally just talk about our days, whatever. And the same girl shares kind of a heavy story, but I'm going to share it with you guys because it's relating to our topic. So she shares that recently she went in for like an outpatient kind of procedure where she had to have local anesthesia. And, she's married with kids, and she had to have this local anesthesia, and didn't think anything of it, right? She just went in for this minor procedure. And she said she woke up with an oxygen mask on, and the doctors were telling her that something kind of life-threatening happened in this like minor procedure. And so she shares this with us, and we were just like, whoa, she's like, so she was telling us, she's like, I just feel so like happy about life now, because she realized that she could have just not been here. And so she was sharing that with us. Like, she felt so just happy with life. And I told her it's kind of like a rebirth. Oh, because the day after that, she got baptized at her church. It just so happened like that was just in line with for her. It wasn't like she thought this procedure was going to happen, but that was what was happening in her schedule, So it just so happened that she got baptized at her church like the following day or the following couple days. And I was like, wow, that's like a rebirth for you. Like, you had this really heavy thing happen, then you get baptized, and it's like now you're rebirth. And she's like, yeah, she's like, I just feel like nothing bothers me. She's like, nothing bothers me, because she realized how precious life is, And so again, you guys, I just share that because it was just another like message to me that like, maybe lighten up, don't take things so seriously. Everything's going to work out. We sometimes don't know how, but I feel like if we're coming from a good place and we're intending good things for people and ourselves, things will always fall in alignment. And what's interesting is, the Pope passing away, and then like these stories of people coming like near death experiences, right? And like, I don't know, it's just, I feel like I've been hearing more and more about this around me. And so it's just, I've always kind of lived my life like this, to be honest. Like, I don't know why. I've always known like it's precious, but normally it's just been louder in my face. And like we had in my family, I did mention it a couple shows ago, like we lost somebody really near and dear, and this just happened in February. So it's just, I don't know, it's closer to my heart, and I thought I would just talk about it more and share that with you guys, that message. So Nancy asked, that's a good example of things lining up for a good renewal, like springtime. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a good time for checking in, you guys, for checking in, for letting go of anything that you feel like doesn't serve you now. Like we're almost halfway through the year if we think about it. And so it's like now is the time to check in, let go of what doesn't serve you anymore, and intend for something else, intend for something new. And like I said, we don't know how it's going to work sometimes, but we have to have faith and trust and hope. So I'm just going to look at my notes really quick because I do want to talk about the cycle of life, because I feel like it just goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. And so this is the kind of work that I've been doing for a long, long time. And this is the kind of work that I will coach on, like one-on-one with anybody that wants to talk to me, have a session. Again, jennalobos.com is my website. But I do have to like reference my notes maybe, but so we're talking about springtime, we're talking about renewal, we're talking about rebirth, and I thought it would be a good time to talk about the cycle of life. And the cycle of life, and what I've been taught, is creation, sustain, destruction, and the void. Okay. So the creation part is, and I'll use myself for an example. I told you guys back in December, I decided that, first of all, I let go of 2 relationships. Okay. So I'll just be really transparent with you guys. I let go of 2 relationships that I was intertwined with for quite some time. So I just want to share that because I myself have to do exactly what I'm telling you guys to do, which is we know in our gut what doesn't serve us anymore. And I know it's hard because we get attached to people, we get attached to the norm. We don't, as human beings, we don't like change. Okay. We get attached to people, we get attached to our jobs, we get attached to our clothes. I mean, oh my gosh, talk about attachment to clothes. I have so many clothes I have to get rid of, and that's on my list. But anyways, I won't go off on that. So we're talking about the cycle of life. Back in December, I let go of 2 relationships and needed to process that, I guess, process my emotions through that. And then I decided to create this new business for myself, this new opportunity. And so I put all of my energy into creating a new website. So that's the creation mode. That's the creation part of the cycle of life, where you feel like something new wants to be birthed out of you. It can be a baby if you're a woman. It can be a baby. It can be a new job. It can be a new relationship, but something you feel new wants to be created from you. Okay. So again, go back to the journaling, the meditation, getting quiet, figure out what that is. If you have that instinct, if you have that gut feeling like I need something new, what is it? We know deep down. And I will say this, by the way, if you're unsure and if your mind can't slow down, you just kind of know something needs to change, but you can't get quiet during the day. Here's a good thing to do. Right before you go to sleep, that is when like our mind is coming, like it's finally like slowing down, right? Because we're getting ready to sleep for 8 to 10 hours. So right before you go to sleep, ask. Just say, God, universe, whatever you believe in, give me a sign. Show me a dream. Just come to me in my dream. And then when you wake up is when you're still lucid, right? You're still half dream state, half awake. When you wake up, the first things that come to your mind are clues. You might have the whole answer, but you might have just clues. I would say journal it or voice note it in your phone, something like that. Okay. So that's kind of a little side note for if you want to create something new. So, okay. So we're talking about the cycle of life. I just get sidetracked here, you guys. So, okay. So we're in creation mode. So I'm using myself an example. I built the website, and then now cycle of life is sustaining mode, right? So now I launched it in February, I believe, my new website, my new business. And now I'm in sustaining mode where you're reaping the benefits of your creation, right? You're reaping the benefits. Let's say you have a baby. You're cuddling the little baby, you're in love, you're in bliss mode. In my case, I created a new business for myself. Now I'm in the sustaining mode where I'm enjoying what I created, and I'm taking inspiration, gut inspiration action, instinctual action, using my gut feelings. I'm doing all of what I talk about to sustain my new creation. Okay. So that's sustaining mode. Then destruction mode comes, and that might be a long, long time, right? It might be years, right? So obviously everything comes to an end. It's a cycle of life. Let's talk about relationship. Okay. Let's say you created a new love relationship and then you sustain it for 10 years. And then something happens and you're like, you know what? This is not working anymore. Even a business, you know, I mean, maybe I shouldn't use baby as an example, but relationship or business, you sustain this thing for a long, long time. And then there comes a point where it's a destruction mode, where it just doesn't work. It doesn't feel right anymore. Maybe in a relationship, one goes one way, the other one goes the other way. That's the way it is. It just needs to end. It needs to end. So that's the destruction mode and the cycle of life. And then what happens after destruction mode is you're in the void. Okay. So the void is where we don't like to be. We don't like to be in the void because we want something concrete as humans. We want relationship, for example, we want to know that this person is going to be with us till death do us part, right? We want to know. We want certainty. So in the void, when after destruction happens and we don't have that relationship or we don't have that business, there's a void where we need to sit in. And it's uncomfortable because we were so used to this other thing being there as a concrete thing that we could always count on, in life. And so we are now in this place where nothing feels right. Maybe you are checking in your gut and your intuition, and you're like, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. And I want to tell you guys that is completely okay. Completely okay. The void is actually a place where there's a lot of abundance, believe it or not, because you're basically getting ready to create something new. And so the universe is basically keeping you in this void to show you examples of what you may want to create. So I'm going to go out on the line here and just talk again about myself. I told you guys that I let go of 2 relationships, and it's complicated, right? I won't go into the whole complication of that whole story. But now I feel like I'm in the void in terms of a romantic relationship. I feel like I'm in the void. And prior to me learning all this work and self-development, I would get anxious. I would be like, okay, when's my next person coming? When's my next person? Like a little kid, like, oh, when's my next person coming? And obviously partially, that's obviously because of my childhood. I just grew up not really receiving the kind of love that I needed, which I've said lots of times on the show. So I've always looked for that romantic relationship to fill that void, right? So now I'm in the void in that area of my life. I'm definitely in the void where I feel like I have to sit in it. And what helps to calm my mind down, because the mind wants to know what's next, what helps to calm my mind down is it's actually very abundant for me right now, where I'm actually creating or seeing examples of what I would love to have in my next romantic relationship. And because I know this, you guys, I'm pretty keen on it, like I'm using my own intuition, like, oh, I would like that, or, ooh, that's cool. I want that. Oh, that feels good. But I mean, not that I have a person yet, but I am noticing that it is abundant, right? I'm noticing it and I'm looking at it in a different way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'm sharing that with you guys because the void normally is where people want to fill up that space so fast because they're uncomfortable. So they look for that other relationship. They look for that other person. They look for something else to fill that void. And I will share with you, I've been there. I have totally, absolutely 100% been there. But I'm so happy that I've learned this because that's when I've made my biggest mistakes, where I was just so uncomfortable with sitting in that place that I made mistakes. I made mistakes in relationships because I was just so wanting that piece of myself to be fulfilled. And so my point is that don't be afraid of the void if that's where you're at. If that's where you feel like you're at in any stage of your life, sit in it and actually lean into it. Love into it more. How can you love into yourself more in that state? And also know that it is a place of abundance. If it's a business you're wanting to create, even if it's health, maybe something needs to change in your health routine and you don't know what it is. Keep your eyes and ears open. Don't go into like a crash diet or a new relationship because you don't feel comfortable, or take a job that's just like, oh, I'm just going to fill it. If you can, obviously that's different. We all need to live and make money and pay our bills. But maybe if you do have to take this other job, and you're in that void cycle, that's okay. You take the job and then you still know you're still in that void. You're just taking this for right now. It's temporary, but know that you're in that state, right? So anyways, okay. So Kendra, thank you for calling in or writing in. Any advice on how to stop being scared and just jump to move forward with change? Any advice on how to stop being scared and just jump to move forward with change? Yeah, I think I might have just answered that for you. I get the fear. I get it. I have it all the time. All the time. I am a lot of times I'm fearful, and a lot of times it really is our mind. Like I just talked about. It really is just the mind chatter. And I don't know your situation, Kendra, and where the fear is coming from, but I know for me, it's a lot of times my mind chatter and basically my mind telling me like, "Oh, who do you think you are? Like, really? You think this is going to work?" Or like, "They're really going to like you? Oh my God, what?" I mean, this is the way our mind talks to us, you guys. It's so negative. It's like we hardly sit and talk about to ourselves and say, I'm like gonna crush this. I got this. This is so easy, this life thing. Of course they're gonna like me. Of course this person's gonna like me. Of course my podcast is gonna be good today. I'm gonna have exactly the right things to say. Like, do we ever talk like that to ourselves? Rarely, right? We rarely say, like, I know for me, like, even if I'm going to like somewhere where I'm dreading to go, right? Where I know, like, I just know, like, I'm not going to feel comfortable there. I'm not going to feel comfortable in my skin where like the people I'm going to hang out with, they don't get me. Like, I'm not going to feel comfortable. And it's like crazy making, because what if what if I told myself, what if everything went right? What if everybody just who I'm going to go hang out with, what if they got me and they understood me and they love me for who I am? Like, we never have that conversation, you guys. It's always negative. So I just want to kind of check you guys, and because I check myself. Everything I talk about, I do myself. So I hope that helps you, Kendra. I really do, because the fear can stifle us. It can keep us safe. It can keep us in a box. It can keep us from moving forward. It can keep us from enjoying this preciousness of life. Exactly what I'm talking about from the beginning of the show. Fear can keep us small, and we don't want to be small. Again, for me, talking to somebody that's heartfelt, like a mentor, I need that in my life. I 100% need that in my life. If I'm really honest, I have never really had a genuine, like a true, genuine, unconditional person in my life that I didn't pay. You know what I mean? Like, I've never had a true, genuine, unconditional person say, "You got this, girl. I got your back." Do you know what I mean? Like, I've never had that. Believe it or not, you guys, I'm not kidding. Like, I've had to really go on my own and get after it on my own. Like, even when I wanted to write this book, I had it in my heart. I'm like, I want to write something. I want to write something. I liked writing. I loved writing. I wanted to write my book. And yeah, so thank you, Jennifer. She said, "So true. Thank you for the check." You're very welcome. So even when I started to write my book, or wanted to write my book, I had a lot of people tell me that I was like, what was the quote? Somebody told me that I was just like, had a butterfly mind. Like, in other words, like, you're just dreaming away, girl. Like, what are you thinking? Like, writing a book? You're not an author, you know? And I was like, really? So I remember taking that quote and actually writing a poem based on that person giving me that dig. Like, I literally wrote a poem. I believe it's in one of my songs on Spotify, that little like lyric about a butterfly. But anyway, so my point is back to Kendra and the fear is that if I didn't have my mentor back when I thought I wanted to write this book, I just had this gut feeling, this intuition. I really wanted to do this. If I didn't have her to say, "You got this, girl," I would have never been sitting here, you guys. Never. I would have never had my book. I would have never had this show. But because she saw me, she believed in me. I feel like you only need one person. You only need one person to really see you and get you and be present with you and really hear what's in your heart. Because without her, I would have never wrote my book. And, I needed money at the time. I needed to put money toward, the making of the book. It cost money. And at the time I was married and my ex-husband didn't want me to do this at all because we were struggling financially. And so I did it anyways. I did it anyways. I got a credit card. I don't even know what I probably got a credit card. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Like, do it anyways. I guess that's what I'm trying to say to Kendra. Like, scared, okay, feel the fear and move forward towards change anyways. Because you guys, life is short and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm taking Pope John Paul, or the Pope, as an example. One day he's leading Easter Sunday and the next day he's gone. So we don't know how life is going to unfold and how it's going to happen. We think we know what's going to happen next in our lives, but really we don't. We don't know what's going to happen. So I'll get off my soapbox, you guys. If any of you are still listening, if you guys want to call in with any other questions, I feel like I've talked a lot. I've talked about the cycle of life. I've talked about going after your dreams and having that hope and faith and trust in whatever you need to do to keep going, one step in front of the other, one breath at a time, one day at a time. When things get hard, when things get tough, sometimes I tell myself 1 minute at a time, what's right in front of you? What are you doing right now? And that's what brings us back to the present moment and what we need to do right now. And again, it's about quieting the mind, having a different dialogue with yourself, asking yourself, what if things did go right this time? Because maybe you've been knocked down a lot of times, but maybe on that 100th time or 200th time, things can go right. So, I will end on Paula because she just said, thank you. I needed this advice today. And you're so, so welcome, Paula. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I will say, just to kind of break it up, I am probably going to have on a dating coach in the next couple weeks. He just responded to my message. So he said he would love to be on our show. So if you guys want to just watch out for that, I'm going to have a dating coach on in the next couple weeks. But until next time, you guys, take really good care of your body, of your mind, slow it down. Just take good care of yourself. Come back to yourself. Again, if anybody wants to reach out and talk to me, my website's jennalobos.com. And until next time, love your body and love your life. Take care. Bye.